Alright, so it's Doug Burrow out here, and okay, so he's Tap, sorry, not Doug. Doug's the host of the lobby. Tap here, and he's opted to go with the 2020 Mercedes AMG. This is the newest addition to the Mercedes family in the group class racing family here at Gran Turismo. I believe this car was, I want to say 8, maybe 9 months ago. This car, maybe a year ago now. The car was released to Gran Turismo, and it's a fun car to drive. It's got its little deal with it. It's got some quirks to it, and once you understand those little funny things about this car, especially under braking and into corner entry, you can get quite efficient with the car, but you always got to be concerned about your exit throttle with this Mercedes. It has a large amount of rear end power to ground ratio, which means lots of torque, and it can catch you out sometimes. So you gotta be a little gentle with it, but at the same time be confident with it, because it has for a front engine rear wheel drive car and how heavy this car is, it actually has a very good braking ability to it. You just got to be patient with that loud pedal in this car. If you can be patient with a loud pedal, that should help you maintain apex speed, and of course if you can maintain the apex speed, then that typically allows you for a much more stable exit on power out as well. And that outlap looked very, very comfortable coming from Tap here that time around. It's a 142.2, but we can't use that to kind of indicate what we should expect to see out of him for pace, because we did see him early on in the lap scrubbing in tires, moving side to side, trying to build up air pressure. So it's not really a true indication of what his potential pace is going to be here today in qualifying based off the outlap. I typically like to use a driver's outlap to give myself an idea of what we should expect to see from a driver in qualifying. However, though there are factors with that, and one of those factors is, of course, a driver taking the time to build up the air temperature of their tires early on in the outlap, swerving side to side or driving slowly, whatever the case may be. So we did see that coming from Tap here, and that is why we see a 142.2. I mean, that is easily 7 to 8 seconds slower than what we should expect to see from this driver. I expect to see Tap hit the 40s. I know this car around the track, it's easily possible. 39, most certainly possible from Tap. Is it possible with him behind the wheel of this car? That's for us to find out, I guess. But I definitely foresee some 140 laps coming from Tap here. And again, this is just to place him as a reserve, substitute driver for Lobby 1 or Lobby 2, and even our reserves need to qualify. You have to be placed, and in order to be properly placed into a division, you do need to run the qualifying process. So even though we're running the majority of our qualifying session here today, there is other available opportunities to qualify and get entered and registered in for the series. The benefit for the drivers that are qualifying today, they're qualified, they got their official time slated in, and at some point there's going to be a deadline placed when qualifying needs to be done, so we can give the car allocations out to our drivers, because they need to know what they're racing in so they can start preparing for Monza on August 3rd. So it's a tough window. It's a tough situation. We're going to always have new drivers coming in later into the leading into a season, or even during a season. So there's always procedures essentially put into place within any organization for that instance, and that's going to be no different here. So the drivers that are qualifying today are setting themselves up to have a best opportunity to get their ultimate car pick, essentially, because they're here, they're qualifying on the scheduled official qualifying day, they've got their official times in. That is, in a sense, going to give them a form of priority over the rest of the driving field. Now, the registered drivers, with that being said, still have priorities, and if sometimes you just can't make a scheduled qualifying date, but that is up to them to reach out to admin staff fairly quickly, set that up if they want to fall into that same priority. If not, if you're coming in late, you're already at round 2, and you're going to come in and qualify and register to race this season, you cannot be guaranteed you're going to get that number 1 pick in your car, and you're not going to get allocated a car based off where you qualify at that point. You're going to get allocated a car based off of what is still available in the series at that point as well. So there's a few factors. So it's always best to pull the trigger on a decision for league racing at the beginning of the league when the qualifying session is supposed to happen, so you can assure your spot and you give yourself the best chance to get what you're looking for in that particular championship event, series, whatever the case may be. All right, so we have a 140.486 here from Tap and a 140.716, exactly where I suspected or expected, a little bit of both, to see this driver end up here today in qualifying. And it's nice to see that he's able to make the official qualifying session, so that's beautiful too as well. And delivery looks quite fantastic actually on the car. I'm a fan. I like the combination of the coloring there, and just like the way that it turns out there down the side of the car. So very neat and tidy looking car here on the racetrack. And clearly you can see that Tap has very good understanding and knowledge of this Mercedes 2020 AMG, because he doesn't look like he's really done any wrong with this car. A couple little slides and a couple little wobbles for the most part, but nothing out of the ordinary from the majority of our drivers we're seeing. Typical little mistakes that we make around a lap around a racetrack. So looking very solid, and he is up on his first hot lap here as well, lap number 2 currently as we come to that live timing sector. He's got a couple tenths in hand here at the moment, and as long as he can get this last sector just as good or better than the second lap, he will find himself an improvement here. And 2 tenths is a pretty good improvement. He can find another 2 tenths in this final set of corners here. We will see another driver slate into the 39s here, and we did say he's most certainly capable of it. Oh, it was so close. It was so close. Oh, 140.187 right there from Tap, and he's got one more crack at it here for a combined total of 4 hot laps here. So 140.486, a 140.716, and a 140.187. Definitely got some good consistency in behind the wheel of this Mercedes here in this qualifying run as well. So it looks like Tap is locked in here at Barcelona in qualifying, and already I can definitely say that he is looking like it's going to end up as a Lobby 1 substitute driver here this season, and that's about where we expected he should have ended up here. If Tap could ever get a whole championship season in here at the GTRC, he is one of those drivers that you most certainly wouldn't count out. And if I were a betting man, I would put the money on him as a dark horse of the season, to be honest. So you can never count this guy out when he's on the track either. And it just comes down to how much preparation time does he really have to get for the race in coordination with his real life work schedule. I'm not going to touch base on what he does for work. That's not my place to say, but he has a pretty important job here in Canada, and we appreciate everything he does, that's for sure. So but we love to see him on the racetrack just as much. It is a very good looking car, isn't it? It is a beautiful looking car, Viking King, absolutely. That offset flat black in behind the decaling there is it just offsets very, very nice. I can't read what it says on the back, but I'm sure it says something quirky. I know his driver had a huge slider on the final corner. Might actually gain him time there. It's hard to say, but all 4 of those qualifying laps into the low 140s, with the exception of lap number 3. So it is going to be lap number 2 and 4 here. 140.187 and a 140.486 from Tap. And a good qualifying session coming right here from Tap. And again, long time standing GTRC community racer here. So